Hi everyone, welcome to the channel if you're new, welcome back if you're a subscriber. Special thanks to all of my patrons. My name's Neil, and it's time for another episode of QI. This is yet another viewer request, and we are going to a recent series. We're going to Series R, which I think is the latest -1. So we're in presumably COVID restriction filming here, which should be interesting. This is episode 5 of the R series, and I can see we're going to get some Johnny Vegas. Johnny's always great. We're going to get some Bridget Christie, who I have fallen in love with during the current season of Taskmaster. She's amazing there, and I feel like I've seen her before on QI. I can't remember when exactly. Maybe I'm misremembering, but it'll be great to see her here too. And Holly Walsh, who's always fun on 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown. So yeah, this should be a really fun lineup. I don't know what else to expect, so let's jump right into it. Episode 5, Series R, Rubbish.
Good evening and welcome to, well, an unusual episode of QI. First of all, it's a little bit quiet in here, and that's because there is no audience. There is no audience because we are shooting this in March 2020 during the coronavirus outbreak.
Oh, is this like their very first Corona show?
Joining me tonight in a show, well, it's all about rubbish. Kicking up a stink, Johnny Vegas.
Oh, it's so weird not hearing all
Down in the dump, it's Bridget Christie.
So weird not hearing the audience.
It's fishy about Holly Walsh. Just going to put it out there. And we're not sure what it is, but we found it down the back of the fridge. It's Alan Davies! Oh,
they haven't put in
repulsive
barriers or anything yet.
Repel something, and I want you to tell me what they repel.
Yeah, so there aren't even protocols yet. It's just no audience. Interesting.
What do you reckon?
Is that another animal? Is there more than one animal?
There is more than one animal. You get a deer snorting, okay, followed by a dog barking, and it is something that the Japan Railway came up with. They were trying to prevent collisions with deer.
While they're going along, they're doing that?
Yeah, yeah.
Do they have bullet trains at 200 miles an hour?
There's a deer going, what the hell was that? I think it's somebody who's a bit too much sake, don't you? Possibly. Yeah.
Are you allowed to drink and drive trains? What's the deal with that?
No. Did you think just because it's on a track, it's okay to carry on having alcohol?
Yeah, I was
really
wondering,
not,
like...
Oh, it's really not. You're not allowed to fly planes either.
Johnny,
no, but with the crisis right now, I'm having a go.
I want to drive one of those big articulated lorries. You know the ones where you have to get a ladder?
Have you ever been to Diggerland?
No.
It's an entire theme park based around...
It's all diggers.
JCB diggers and whatnot. They let 2-year-olds drive them, and I'm not even joking.
I had to go to court a long time ago for speeding in my car, and while I was in the court, there were 2 other people up before me, but what they'd done was they'd taken a bus. And then they talked in a very serious, courtly way about the route they took through the town and the carnage they wrought. Stand there and keep a straight face, and obviously the best night of their lives.
Got drunk, me and my friend, and climbed under a covered carousel and slept on the top deck of obviously a miniature bus. It was so small, I just climbed on it like Godzilla. The guy was telling us how much trouble we was in, and you're going, for what?
Yeah.
Sleeping on a tiny bus. And somehow wishing we were bigger. Well, why don't you pull the tiny police car off and follow us?
The best chase ever.
Yeah.
Gonna get you! And you're just going round.
Around. People sleep on roller coasters when they're breaking records.
Do they?
I've heard of that. They go, how many days can you last on a roller coaster? And you're allowed off 5 minutes every hour to have a...
No, you should have to do all your ablutions off the side of it. That should be part of it.
Well, that's a health and safety issue.
No, not
miles
girls.
around.
Well, we've all done a motorway moonie. Why wouldn't
We haven't all done a motorway
we
mooning,
haven't.
Holly Walsh. It's just
OK,
you.
okay, fine. Have you done a motorway moonie? No.
It was in France, it wasn't here.
Oh, what, that doesn't count?
I thought no one will know it's me. No, I was on my own.
Were you driving? How does that work?
I'm a very talented driver. I was being taught how to drive a tractor once by a farmer.
Right.
And I hadn't realised that the farmer had jumped off.
How did you not notice? There's not doors or anything.
And he hadn't yet taught me how to stop it.
Oh, my God, what happened?
I had to crash into a barn.
Bridget, let's have a listen to yours.
Okay, it's a swarm of bees. Wasps, bees.
What would it repel, buzzing bees, what do you reckon?
I do think it might be not a human...
Yes, it's something huge.
Elephant.
Elephants is exactly right.
That's right, elephants don't like bees, right?
Do the bees go up the trunk?
Yes, that's a problem. Up the nose, up the arse, up the mouth.
Up the arse?
I would imagine.
But elephants don't have huge arseholes, do they?
Let's not focus on the arsehole. They enclose the land with beehive fences, so they've got hives dotted all the way along them, and the elephants try to enter the fields. It bumps into a wire, it disturbs the bees, and they swarm.
Have you ever seen the bees in that documentary that got a taste for beer and broke into the brewery?
Yes.
What?
All the monkeys, when they eat the fermented fruit, and they just go, I'll sell you them.
And you shouldn't find it funny, should you? But honestly, a Labrador and a bowl of champagne is hilarious. Holly, let's have a listen to your one.
It's your best single, I think.
Thank you.
Didn't they play heavy metal outside General Noriega's house when they were trying to force him to come out?
Yes, they did. So there was a tiny community in Nevada, and the crickets used to invade this community, a place called Tuscarora. So they discovered if they played Led Zeppelin and the Rolling Stones at full volume, it'd stop the insects in their tracks.
Bridget knows some farmers, or knew some farmers until they died.
You knew a farmer. The one who fell off the tractor. Was he OK, by the way?
Oh, well, he was just, like, waving from 2 fields away. It was the worst 3 days of my life.
The worst
3 days?
Driving it round for 3 days?
No, that was the job on the second day, but I'd already had to milk cows with my hand, and they know from your touch if you're new. You're in, like, a swimming pool that doesn't have water in it. They don't make you swim and milk them at the same time. And the cow's tail went up and it pooed all over me because it was new. And
Why were you behind it?
The worst bit is that the farmer made me stand in the courtyard while he hosed me down.
Alan.
Yeah.
What is your buzzer?
We're still here just doing buzzers.
Like, when you're in bed and you can hear a mosquito in the room.
It is a mosquito alarm. When it is at the correct level, it can only be heard by young people. But have a listen to what it ought to sound like.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Anybody?
Oh, yes, I can hear it.
Yeah.
I can hear it, yes.
Wow, we hate you.
How old are you, Anna?
23. Does this stop, like, youths hanging out outside Burger King?
Yeah, so Burger King, 7-Eleven, Transport for London have used it. They also find now that classical music or folk music is another thing that makes young people...
Well, I think folk music probably keeps most people away.
I love folk music.
Oh, yeah,
she's gone.
At Brixton Station, they were playing classical music, but it was to, like, stop people from getting violent.
I got my teeth knocked out outside Brixton Tube Station.
What?
It was an angry farmer. How old were you when things started to go right?
And how long do you think that will last?
From repelling sounds to repulsive tastes, what's brown and sicky?
It's American chocolate.
It is American chocolate, you're absolutely
What?
right. The chocolate factories in the United States are further from the dairy farms than in the UK, obviously, so you've got to move the milk for a bit longer. And so they have a chemical process which extends the shelf life. So even chocolate brands that don't use that process sometimes add that acid anyway, just to mimic the taste, because the Americans have got used to it.
So, American chocolate literally tastes like puke.
I was doing a play once. An elderly lady came to see it, I think, 4 times. And on the 4th time, she gave me a Kit Kat. It tasted exactly like an old lady's cupboard. It's not a euphemism. It was a 5-year-old Kit Kat. I mean, it may have been more. I don't know how long they last.
I think we're being very mean.
OK.
You'll be an old lady...
Ish.
Yes.
soon.
I've never been less insulted in my life.
I was in CCF at school, and we had
that?
A combined cadet
Forces.
forces.
I was in that as well.
Which were you?
Army.
But basically...
Did you say that like it was better?
That's what they were like.
That
That's
was
what the RAF ones were like.
We did do like an overnight, you know...
Manoeuvre.
Yeah. We did our RAF Odeon.
Did you?
Yeah.
You did it in the cinema?
No, Odium.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said Odeon. I did too.
It meant you didn't want to eat the chocolate first.
No, you didn't want to eat it. It's called a D ration. It was also known as a Logan bar. Frankly, barely any better than a boiled potato.
Oh, I like boiled potato.
They used to call it Hitler's secret weapon because it made them ill.
There's definitely been nights I would just have eaten it.
Why did the Romans put their dinner on the floor?
Did they stamp it in because they wanted really cheap tiling?
What they did was they decorated dining room floors with a mosaic of fake litter.
It's like, look at all the great stuff I didn't even bother picking up.
It's like the equivalent of getting gold teeth for no reason.
I've got a gold tooth. Do you want to see it?
Yeah. Right.
When you walk past cash converters, is your jaw drawn to it? I did see a lad in cash converters once. He couldn't have been 15, and he had a sewing machine, and they went, what's your reason for selling it? And he went, unwanted gift.
This hill is 150 foot high. It's in the centre of Rome.
Is it a garbage heap?
A rubbish dump. It's made from 25 million shards of amphorae.
All the broken bottles.
Years ago, I did a film with Roger Law, you know, that created Spitting Image, and I had to smash £25,000 worth of ceramics donated by contemporary ceramicists.
So they were genuine, they're not props?
Somebody somewhere will have the most amazing mosaic.
Oh, wouldn't it be fantastic?
Of contemporary ceramics.
Yeah. People with really specific fetishes, they sent their stamp collection to two porn stars, and they just had to burn it on camera, and that's all he wanted, but that was his fetish. And I was just thinking, I think that's my fetish, watching you smash up some vases.
There's everything online. I was looking something up about something, and
yeah.
If you put two...
I came back from Thailand, where I had discovered a vegetable that I liked very much called morning glory, and I thought, I wonder where you buy that in London.
Oh dear.
Well, turns out all over.
My ex, he asked me to go cross-eyed just before he ejaculated.
Well, for a target?
In the
I didn't see him after that.
Well, not if your eyes are like that.
Couldn't see anything.
A similar discovery was made in 1897 by these two rather marvellous Victorian archaeologists, Bernard Grenfell and Arthur Hunt. I mean, how camp do they look? They're rather marvellous.
The one on the right kind of looks like Alex Horn.
Not remotely cross-eyed, they do nothing for me.
They found this astonishing rubbish dump. More than 500,000 fragments of papyrus, 3rd century BC, through to the Muslim conquest of Egypt,
crazy.
640 AD. All the fragments were taken to the Ashmolean in Oxford.
I mean, obviously, that's the right place.
The whole collection was made digital, and algorithms were used to cross-reference and so on. And since then, more than 200,000 fragments have been translated. There's a 3rd century doctor's report, but there's also literature. They discovered an extract from Andromeda, the lost tragedy by Euripides.
That's so fascinating.
I love it. I think it's so fascinating.
It is.
What else they're going to discover in there? Because not even half of it has been analysed yet. I think it's amazing. Alan, what's the point of all this blue whale shit?
What, you can use it?
It is vital to the planet.
Is it?
Something must feed on it.
This is what it looks like. Who has taken that photograph? I do not...
Well, the whale, I presume, and then Instagrammed it. Just out of shit.
If I do 2 days on cider, that's what I do. But if I stick to me 5 a day...
What cider?
It's a bit more compacted, isn't it?
Ciders, that's what you take from that sentence. What cider?
They release what can only be described as a fecal plume of buoyant excrement, but it is incredibly nutrient-rich. It's absolutely full of iron, and this acts as fertiliser of phytoplankton, which photosynthesises, and in doing so, it absorbs enormous amounts of CO2, and it...
Oh, okay.
So most of the oxygen that we are breathing is made by plankton, and the plankton need whale poo.
Have we got enough blue whales?
Not nearly enough.
So the IMF did this thing. They had a look at how much are they worth to us, and each whale is worth about $2 million American dollars. So the current stock of whales is valued at $1 trillion US.
So there's 500,000 blue whales? That doesn't seem right at all. There's not nearly that many. I thought there were only a couple thousand blue whales on the planet.
Now, for a different kind of repulsion, please can you point to the Earth's magnetic North Pole on this globe?
It used to be in the Canadian high Arctic, but I think it's migrated since then. Is it like over Greenland now?
Okay, up there, right?
Has it, because I know it can, has it flipped?
No.
It's not at the bottom?
Well, it might be, but it hasn't flipped.
It hasn't.
Yeah, every 70,000 years, the poles flip. I think it's 70,000.
You are right about drifting and flipping, but we are not talking about that.
I think it's slightly off north, the top of the globe.
No, is the answer.
Slightly off the bottom?
Can we have it back?
So it has flipped?
No, the Earth and the compasses are attracted to each other, okay? Let us imagine that you have got 2 magnets. So I've got 2 magnets marked north and south magnet.
Well, doesn't that just mean we got our compasses labeled problematically?
It's going to be south. It's going to be like that.
Yeah, but what?
So
but why on earth would
the south, right? It's the opposite ends of the magnet which attract.
Just because the needle says N doesn't mean it's north charged.
Compasses are magnets. Their north end points to the Arctic, so therefore, even though we call that end the North Pole, it must be the magnetic South Pole.
Oh, I get it, yeah.
Nah.
When we talk about explorers like Scott and Amazon going to the poles, they, of course, depended on the Earth's magnetic field in order to navigate.
Amazon delivers all the way to the North Pole.
Amundsen.
Well, he rather famously beat Scott to the South Pole.
Oh, right, yes, I did know
But
that.
he was supposed to be going to the North Pole at the time.
Right.
It was in 1909. Robert Peary had reached the North Pole, and all of his funding and the loan of his ship was all tied to him going to the North Pole, but he didn't want to be second. Turned the ship around and sailed south, and what I like is he didn't tell the crew his plan for over a month, and nobody seemed to notice. What Danish trick gets English pulses racing? First came
Caffeine.
to the UK.
Invaders,
Viking.
longboats.
Viking, 11th century. And
Okay,
they
not
seduced
caffeine.
English women using the power of cleanliness.
They washed.
So
They washed.
they washed. According to a monk called John of Wallingford, the Danes cheated by washing. This is a new idea.
I can't imagine that the Brits were dirty.
They combed their hair daily and took a bath every Saturday, and even changed their clothes frequently, which is a totally different story to all the rape and pillage thing.
Yes.
Yeah, no. So
All these handsome Scandinavians showed up. The local dudes had no chance.
that guy, I mean, he could pull me. He's They did a study in 2018. It was the US Center for Hygiene and Health, and they claimed that modern-day bathtub 100 times as much bacteria in a normal bath as in a rubbish bin. Apparently, they recommend if you are going to take a bath,
Do it in a rubbish bin.
Have a shower after.
or shower before and after.
I've had a water meter fitted, so I just swim at canal.
What did you just say?
He had a water
I've had a
meter
water
fitted,
meter fitted,
so now he just swims in the canal.
So I'm from Guildford, so I...
Why might a bath be good for you, even if it's full of bacteria?
And it takes stress off your joints, and it's almost like being in space, but for a shorter period.
It improves your circulation and it lowers your blood pressure, which is what you were
They
trying
do
to
use
say.
them for
No, I was trying to say it's like being in space.
sensory
And
deprivation.
It lifts your mood, a bath, more than physical exercise.
As long as you don't put a toaster in there too.
Yeah, that dampens the mood.
Can you get these cans that you have beside you ready for recycling, please? What we do,
They're-
you're
would
crushing-
normally-
No, don't crush it and don't tear off the top.
So they use the size and the shape of the object in order to identify them. So if you crush the can, it might put it in the non-recycling pile.
I don't think a lot of people know that.
It just really depends on what the item is. So
Did you guys have the thing where you would collect the tabs of soda and beer cans separately? There was a time where those individually were supposed to be incredibly valuable, and like people would collect just those to trade for cash or like charity drives and stuff. But I think it was all hokum.
It's not that I want to give up, but I just feel like they're making it very difficult.
Recycling is a bit of a con job by the packaging companies, putting the onus on the public as opposed to taking any responsibility for what they're actually manufacturing. But that's just me. That's just my opinion.
But if you are struggling with your recycling, you're not sure, put it in your neighbours and let them sort it out.
name the last commercial flight to fly faster than the speed of sound.
Is it Concorde?
It can't be the Concorde, but
Officially, Concorde is the only supersonic commercial service that ever
but I bet you
Several
some
flights have since then flown faster than the speed of sound.
Airbuses have beat it.
But you get this jet stream that pushes you along. So under normal conditions, the speed of sound is 760 miles per hour, but it doesn't cause a sonic boom because...
Couldn't afford it.
Because the air is moving at the
relative to
same...
the air that you are moving in, you are travelling under the speed of sound.
Yeah.
Alan, you've been on the Concorde, haven't you?
I have been on the Concorde.
Yeah.
When did the Concorde get retired? I feel like it was ages ago. Like the 80s, early 80s. If it just smells of a very 70s vibe.
New York to London, the fastest BA Concorde flight, 1996, 2 hours, 52 minutes and 59 seconds. The argument about whether to spell Concorde with an E caused an absolute nationalist uproar in Britain, which rather pre-echoed the Brexit convulsions. People thought...
Concorde mean in English?
It's it's peace.
It's an agreement.
Yeah. Look around you and point to a symbol you can see on the set that tells you you can recycle something. Alan, pick one.
The one right in the middle of the circle.
No, I guess not.
That's a very common symbol, the interlocking...
The one above it.
Green arrows. It means the manufacturer has made a financial contribution to recovery and recycling of packaging in Europe.
What about that one?
Yes, the white arrow pointing to its tail. That means the product is widely recycled by 75% or more of local authorities.
I've never seen that one. That's a UK-specific one.
Folded arrows.
That's what we have everywhere.
Recyclable, but there's no guarantee.
It should just say, this is put this in the recycling bin, don't put this in the bin.
Yeah, don't, exactly. And if you look at the rubbish that's on the set around here, this is the UK average for the amount produced by one person per year at home. 222 kilograms.
Well, this is all rather depressing.
EnviroWaste compiled a list of the most unusual things it had discovered in waste in London. A dead stuffed cat dressed in a baby's onesie.
What?
A shoebox filled with dozens of mouse skeletons. A sealed box full of maggots. A super soaker full of urine. And a Victorian dildo.
Golly.
In first place with 7 points, it's Holly.
Bravo, Holly. Underwhelming applause.
Johnny. -4 in third place, Bridget.
Oh.
That's a good score.
Alan, fourth place, -26. Well done.
Oh. He took a couple for the team, I think, this episode.
Good night.
Oh, it's so sad hearing... So how did they manage to get away with only doing 2 episodes without an audience? I feel like the shutdown would have lasted longer than that, and this is like right in the middle of their season. Anyhow, that's interesting. Quite interesting. Man, you miss the crowd noise though. It's heartbreaking hearing the applause at the end, and it's just like the 12 crew in the wings. But you know, we all had to deal with it in our own small ways, didn't we? I love that I know everybody. I love that I'm at this stage now where it's much more, many more familiar faces than new faces when I'm watching my favorite shows now. I've learned a great deal about British television in the last year. There's a ton more still to learn. We're going to start dabbling, perhaps, in some British sitcoms down the road. But yeah, it's been a, you know, we'll see what happens there. Man, I could watch QI for forever. So please keep sending in your recommendations. I do have a long list ahead of me. I'm working my way through it, but at one a week. It may take some time before we get to yours. But nevertheless, please make your suggestions, and I will get to them. And until next week, take care, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.